Why the F? You call on my phone. No caller ID last night. That's Nevaeh, midstream, sitting inches from Blueface. And she's not asking him. She's reading him. Right there, in front of the whole timeline. Cameras rolling. Chat losing its mind. And the wildest part? He didn't flinch. He smirked, like he'd been waiting for the question. Y'all, somebody set somebody up tonight. I just don't know who set who up yet. And I want you to sit with that for a second, because if you've been watching this saga long enough, you already know Blueface doesn't get caught off guard on his own stream. That's his living room. That's his stage. Nothing happens on that broadcast that he hasn't already run through his head 3 times. So when Nevaeh leaned in with that question, that specific question, phrased that specific way, with that specific timing, either she went off script and blindsided him, or the two of them cooked this together before the light on the camera ever turned red. And I'ma be honest with you, I don't think she blindsided him. I think they cooked. And I think Jaidyn is the one who got served. Let me show you why. Real quick before we crack this open. If you're the type who watches these live streams and immediately opens 3 tabs to fact check what just happened, you're already family. Tap that like, hit subscribe, ring the bell. This one's about to unravel in ways the timeline hasn't caught up to yet. And if you're new here, Celeb Virex doesn't do surface level. We don't do, she said. He said timeline over. We do the why. We do the money underneath the mess. We do the psychology of the smirk. Stick around, because I promise you by the time we get to the forward motion section, you're going to be looking at every single one of these live stream arcs different from now on. Here's what we're actually looking at. On a recent Twitch broadcast, Blueface, real name Jonathan Porter, and his now official girlfriend Nevaeh Akira went live and turned a private call accusation into a full-blown roast session aimed at Jaidyn Alexis, the mother of 2 of his kids. The trigger? Jaidyn had gone on her stream first and floated the theory that Blue was pinging her on a blocked number. Nevaeh saw the clip, walked it back to him on camera, and the whole thing detonated from there. BBL jokes, boyfriendices, the works. Blueface confirmed Nevaeh as his official girlfriend during that same February Twitch broadcast, where he also announced she's carrying his 4th child. Hot 97. Now, before we go one more sentence, I need you to hold the shape of that sequence in your head, because the shape matters more than the words. Jaidyn streamed first. Nevaeh streamed second. Blueface sitting in on the second one. Announcement of official girlfriend status and pregnancy dropped in the same broadcast where the roast happened. All of it packed into one media cycle. That's not 4 separate events. That's one coordinated content drop with 4 detonation points. Nobody stumbles into that structure. That's a media rollout. And Jaidyn's stream was the one that lit the fuse, meaning she was the one used as the opening act for somebody else's headliner. Whether she knew it or not, she was booked on that show. Now watch how the pieces fit. Straight from the stream, Nevaeh drops the bait. Why the F? You call on my phone. No caller ID last night. I thought you had a girlfriend. Monogamous. What happened to all that, man? Keep the scar. Don't nobody want that stale SS. That's not a girlfriend asking a question. That's a girlfriend running a script she already knew the ending to. And look at the language architecture of that line. She doesn't just ask, she frames. I thought you had a girlfriend. Monogamous. She's putting the label on herself out loud, on camera, in front of Blueface before he has to say it. That's a woman planting the flag for him, so all he has to do is nod. It's actually kind of brilliant if you look at it as pure media strategy. She made her own status the premise of the diss, so denying it would look worse than confirming it. She trapped him into girlfriend status using a Jaidyn accusation as the mousetrap. Blue's answer, seconds later. I got a better chance of calling regular than calling private. Unless they got you blocked, sweetheart. Cold. Almost bored. And notice, he never actually said no. That non-denial is the tell. Because a man who didn't call would say, I didn't call you. Full stop. He wouldn't need a logic puzzle about probability. The pivot to, unless they got you blocked, is a courtroom move. Plant reasonable doubt. Don't answer the actual charge. That's what people do when the charge is close enough to true that flat denial would come back to bite them. Then he pivots into the flex. This part is honestly a little wild. My girlfriend got millionaires trying to claim her. These other females got very low-level, local type D, popping it about them. Damn, He said it with his chest too. And this is the moment where the roast stopped being about Nevaeh's phone and started being about Jaidyn's whole life. He switched targets so smoothly the chat almost missed it. 1 second we're talking about a blocked call. The next second Jaidyn's dating pool is being valued like real estate. That's a magician's move, misdirect with one hand, cut with the other. Then came the shot at Jaidyn's new man, Kai Bands, the rapper she's reportedly been stepping out with since the tape leak fallout, captured on IG by fan pages like Live Bites via Hot New Hip Hop. D won't even kiss these females. They get on camera with N, looking stiff. Like, I don't really like her. I'm just here to get my little cool points. Reluctant respect, nope. That was surgical. And I want to sit on this line for a second because it's doing more work than people are giving it credit for. He's not just clowning Kai Bands. He's rewriting the narrative around Jaidyn's post-Blueface dating life. He's saying, the man she moved on to doesn't even want her. She's a resume line for him, not a partner. That's a way to hurt somebody without ever saying their name. He's telling Jaidyn, through Kai, that her upgrade wasn't an upgrade. It's a photo op cruel? Absolutely. Effective? Also absolutely. That's the part that bothers me. And then the one that actually made me sit up, the BBL comment. I want you botched earlier. Can't take another box. Cost too much. Homie, you paid for it. He allegedly dropped $30,000 on that procedure himself, per his own admission on the stream. Calling it botched is like buying a car and complaining the paint's ugly. Sir, you picked the color. But here's the deeper thing about that line, and I don't think enough people caught this. He's not really insulting the surgery. He's laying claim to it. He's telling the audience, I financed her body, and now I'm financing hers, meaning Nevaeh. It's a power move dressed up as a punchline. He's turning cosmetic surgery into a ledger of ownership. Which, hold that thought, because we're going to come back to it in the forensics section. That line is the Rosetta Stone of this whole broadcast. Alright, pull back. Because the sequencing here is what tells the real story, not the punchlines. Jaidyn goes on her own stream first. She hints. She dangles. She lets the internet run with the private call theory. Within hours, Nevaeh pulls the same thread on her broadcast, with Blueface sitting right there. That's not a coincidence, and I'm not going to pretend it is. That's a response tactic. Now overlay the pregnancy timeline. Blueface confirmed Nevaeh is 12 weeks along on that same February 22nd Twitch stream. For the Shade Room's coverage. 12 weeks. Do the math backwards from February announcement. You're landing right around Thanksgiving. Which, if you're watching the timeline back then, was exactly when Blue and Jaidyn were still posting content together looking like a family. Hold on. Back up. Because I want to be careful here. I'm not saying the pregnancy overlap was strategic. I'm saying the announcement timing was. Big difference. He could have dropped that news any week. He picked the one where Jaidyn was already trending for the tape leak backlash. And that distinction matters because I don't want to sit here and turn a baby into a chess piece. That's a whole human being that's going to be born into this discourse whether they asked to or not. What I am saying is the reveal was weaponized. The kid didn't do that. The rollout did. Blueface saw Jaidyn taking damage in the news cycle and chose that exact week to plant a I'm building a new family flag on top of it. That's not accidental timing. That's a spike through her news week. Then you've got the tattoo. Nevaeh got his government name, Jonathan, inked under her chin in late 2025 per Complex. Her quote when he asked why? Because, baby, we in this for life. You don't give people name status for no reason. XXL logged it too. That tattoo went up before the official girlfriend announcement, before the pregnancy reveal, before the cut from the roster post that had everybody thinking they broke up. She was locked in early. He caught up publicly later. That's the pattern. She commits. He performs commitment. Timeline sits there quiet. And this is where you have to stop and appreciate the psychological asymmetry, because it's the exact same pattern Krazian followed. Krazian tattooed his face. Krazian carried his kid. Krazian took the public beatings and stayed. And in each case, Blueface's public commitment always trailed the woman's private commitment by months. She stakes the flag. He walks over and touches it later, when it's safe, when the cameras are already there, when the audience is already invested. That's not love timing. That's marketing timing. He waits until the story has an audience before he confirms he's the lead. Now flip it and look at Jaidyn's timeline. She was the one Blueface actually married. Briefly, chaotically, but legally. She's the mother of the 2 older kids. She's the one who was in his verified photos for years before Krazian was even a Google search. And what did she get for that longevity? Cut from a roster on Instagram. Discussed like inventory on Twitch. That's the horror movie under this whole thing. That seniority in a Blueface relationship isn't a promotion. It's an expiration date. Zoom in on one sentence Blueface said. Just one. I want you botched earlier. Read it 3 times. I had to. Because it's not really about Jaidyn's body. It's about ownership. He's telling Nevaeh, publicly, that he had input on how a previous partner's surgery looked, and he's implying he'll have input on hers too. That's the actual message under the joke. And it lands because Nevaeh laughs. And the laugh is the thing. The laugh is the receipt. Because in that moment, Nevaeh isn't just tolerating the joke, she's ratifying it. She's telling the audience, yes, I accept the terms of this relationship. And the terms include him having creative direction over my body. Whether she means to or not, that laugh is a signed contract. And every woman in his orbit, past, present, future, just watched it get notarized on stream. Now flip to a behavioral tick that's been consistent across every Blueface livestream saga going back years. Krazian, Jaidyn, and now this. Watch what he does when the drama peaks. He doesn't retreat. He streams harder. He turns the accusation into content within the same 24 hours. The private call rumor? Not addressed off camera. Addressed live. Monetized live. Chat watching the whole time. That's not clumsy. That's a business model. I want you to name one other rap-adjacent figure who has this same reflex at this same volume. You can't. Not really. Diddy hides. Drake subtweets. Kanye posts and deletes. Blueface invoices. Every crisis he's ever had has been converted into a streaming session with a subscribe button attached to it. He's not a rapper who happens to live stream. He's a live streamer who happens to have a rap catalog. The music is bait. The stream is the business. And one more thing that got past most of the coverage. The school crib ad-lib he's been peppering into every diss. That's not random. It's a callback to his crew set that he's been using to signal that Nevaeh is now inside the circle, and Jaidyn is outside of it. Language as loyalty test. Small detail, big signal. There's also a facial thing you can catch if you rewatch the clip in slow motion. Every time Nevaeh lands a shot, Blueface jaw does this little tick to the side, almost like he's checking a scoreboard in his head. He's not reacting. He's tallying, which is what somebody looks like when they helped write the material. The forensic conclusion of this segment is uncomfortable, but I must say it. This wasn't a couple defending itself from an accusation. This was 2 performers running a bit. And the bit was designed to end one specific person's cultural relevance for the current news cycle. That person is Jaidyn. Mission accomplished. Here's where the coverage splits, and it tells you everything about how outlets pick teams. The Shade Room is running it as a family-blended messy narrative. 3 kids across 2 women, custody tension, pink face as karma, per their child support recap. They're keeping Jaidyn central. Sympathy pointed her way. Hot New Hip Hop is framing it as an entanglement scandal. Bravo, the leaked tape, revenge sleep-ups, Blueface allegedly posting explicit content of Jaidyn, then denying it. That framing treats Jaidyn as a co-participant in the mess. Very different lens. Then Complex and XXL are covering the Nevaeh angle. The tattoo, the loyalty, the in this for life quote. Almost fairy tale. Almost. And that split is not accidental. That's audience segmentation. The Shade Room's readership skews toward black women who are going to default sympathetic to the mother in the equation. So TSR feeds them the mother first frame because that's what keeps that audience clicking. Hot New Hip Hop's crowd wants rap drama and receipts, so they lead with the scandal angle. Complex and XXL are chasing the youth culture beat, so they play up the tattoo and treat it like a Gen Z devotion story. Same 3 people. 3 completely different villains depending on which tab you opened. That's why nobody in these comment sections can agree on who did what to who, because they're literally not reading the same story. The internet has stopped covering this triangle and started serving it 3 different ways to 3 different customer bases. It's a menu, not a news cycle. Now, the loudest counter-narrative in the comments right now is Nevaeh's the villain. She knew about the kids. She knew about Jaidyn. She got the tattoo anyway. She's the homewrecker. Let me steelman it. There's a real argument that Nevaeh accelerated a situation that was already collapsing. The pregnancy 30 days into the relationship, per TikTok coverage that went viral last month, does look like she was trying to plan a flag fast. But here's why that red falls apart. Blueface had already left. The leaked tape happened before Nevaeh was public. Jaidyn was already seeing Kai bands. This wasn't a home wreck. This was a house that had been on fire for 2 years, and Nevaeh just walked into the smoking foundation and said, "Sure, I'll move in." That's not villainy. That's timing. The real villain in this story isn't a person. It's the format. Live streams reward humiliation, and everybody involved is playing the format perfectly. And if you want to stress test that claim, ask yourself, when's the last time a quiet Blueface relationship trended? Never. There isn't one, because the algorithm doesn't clip quiet. The algorithm clips crying, cursing, calling out, clapping back. Every woman in his orbit who wanted the visibility of being with him had to accept the visibility of being humiliated by him. Those are the same visibility. That's the deal. Nobody signed a different contract. Okay, here's the read nobody's saying out loud. The mainstream take is messy love triangle, hip-hop mama versus new girlfriend, everybody's petty, film at 11. But peel that back and something colder shows up. This whole arc has been engineered for algorithmic velocity. Every beat of it. Think about what Blueface has actually built here. He turned a custody dispute into a Twitch subscriber pipeline. He turned a tape leak into weeks of trending topics. He turned a pregnancy reveal into a diss track without recording a song. He's not losing at any of this. He's winning the only metric he actually plays for, which is attention per hour of content. And Jaidyn, I must say this with love, walked directly into it. When she floated the private call theory on her own stream, she handed him the exact clip he needed to do a reaction video with his new girlfriend. She fed the machine that eats her. Every time, Nevaeh's role in this, she's not the villain and she's not the prize either. She's the co-host. That tattoo isn't just devotion. It's a business commitment to a live stream brand. You don't put a man's government name under your chin without understanding that your face is now part of his monetization strategy. She signed up, willingly, eyes open. And that's where the psychology gets fascinating, because Nevaeh isn't playing the same game Krazian played, and she isn't playing the same game Jaidyn played. Krazian played the ride or die game and got physically damaged for it. Jaidyn played the wife and mother game and got publicly discarded for it. Nevaeh is playing a third game, the co-brand game. She's not asking to be protected. She's asking to be on the poster. That's actually more modern than we're giving her credit for. Whether that ends better or worse for her than the last two, that's the open question the next 6 months answer. Now watch the jabs land. 6 of them, quick. Blueface calling Jaidyn's BBL botched is like a chef complaining his own soup is salty. You made it, chef. He doesn't even like her line about Kai bands. Projection at Olympic altitude. This is a man who admitted he wouldn't come home during Jaidyn's pregnancy. The millionaire's trying to claim my girlfriend flex? Sir, you're describing your own girlfriend as a bidding war. That's not romance. That's an eBay listing. The school crib. Chant every 3 sentences? At this point, it's less a set signal and more a nervous tick. You okay, big dog? Nevaeh calling Jaidyn's life stale. Baby, you got 12 weeks in. Ask again at 12 months. And the whole, you won the battle, framing between them. Nobody wins a battle where the prize is this guy. That's a participation trophy in a burning building. The real ending here isn't dramatic. It's quieter than that. It's the day one of these women looks at the camera, realizes it never loved her back, and logs off for good. Whichever one gets there first, she wins. Let me put on a different hat for a second, because I think this segment is where we earn our stripes. There's a thing called intermittent reinforcement. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines addictive. You don't get rewarded every time you pull. You get rewarded just often enough that your brain refuses to stop trying. Every long-term partner Blueface has been on an intermittent reinforcement schedule. Public affection Monday, public humiliation Wednesday, reconciliation post-Friday, rinse, repeat. That's not a relationship pattern. That's a Skinner box with a subscribe button. And here's what's chilling. The audience is on the same schedule. We tune in for the fights. We stay for the makeups. We refresh for the next twist. We're not observers of this dynamic. We're participants in it. The algorithm rewarding this behavior is us. Every clip we quote tweet, every reaction video we watch, every let me get some popcorn comment. That's fuel for the exact machine grinding these women down. If the audience walked away tomorrow, this content ends tomorrow. It hasn't ended, so we haven't walked away. There's also a masculinity thesis buried in all this that people keep missing. Blueface public persona is built on a specific performance of dominance. Over women, over rivals, over his own emotional expression. But watch what happens when Nevaeh talks over him on that stream. He lets her. He nods. He co-signs. That's not the same guy who was throwing hands at Krasin 2 years ago. Something about this configuration is different for him. Either he's evolved, I doubt it, or Nevaeh has figured out how to operate inside the persona without triggering it. That's a survival skill previous partners didn't have access to, or weren't given access to. The third psychological layer is Jaidyn's, and it's the saddest one. Jaidyn is stuck in a role she can't quit because 2 kids share DNA with a man ridiculing her on stream. She can't fully log off. Custody, co-parenting, holidays, birthday parties. She is legally bound to a co-star she desperately needs to unfollow. Nevaeh has an exit. Krasin has an exit. Jaidyn doesn't. That asymmetry is the entire emotional engine of this saga, and nobody's naming it plainly. She's not petty. She's trapped. And petty is what trapped looks like on camera. Let's stop pretending this is about feelings. Let me walk you through the P&L. Twitch subscriptions run tiers. $4.99, $9.99, $24.99 a month. Blueface streams that trend nationally pull 5-figure concurrent viewer counts. Even at a modest conversion rate of 1 paying sub per 200 viewers, a single high-drama broadcast can net 5 figures in one night before donations, bits, and clip farm revenue on TikTok and YouTube start compounding. Then there's the tour bookings. Every trending week means a bump in appearance fees. Then there's the merch. Every catchphrase becomes a hoodie. Then there's the podcast circuit. Every scandal is a booking pitch. Now stack that against a quiet week. A quiet week is a $0 week for a content creator whose entire brand is chaos. There's a financial cost to peace in this ecosystem, which is why peace never gets a full season. It gets teased for a couple episodes to reset the audience, and then something detonates just in time for sweeps. If you're wondering why the fights always seem timed to news cycles, that's why. It's not paranoia, it's payroll. And here's the part that should genuinely bother us. Jaidyn is not receiving co-star revenue. She's the co-star of a hit show, and she's getting paid in emotional damage. Krasin at least had her own catalog and her own reality show. Jaidyn's paycheck is the child support settlement and whatever streams she can salvage between crises. That's an economic power imbalance dressed up as a personal one. Somebody is monetizing her humiliation, and it's not her. If you rewind to 2022, the Krasin arc had the exact same story beats. Public introduction, rapid public devotion, tattoos, matching content. Pregnancy announcement mid-crisis. Custody dispute weaponized on stream. New woman introduced before the old one exits. Media split into sympathy camps. Rinse. The Jaidyn 2023 to 2024 arc. Same beats. Different woman. Now watch. The Nevaeh 2025 to 2026 arc is running the same playbook. The pregnancy came fast. The tattoo came faster. The official girlfriend announcement dropped right on top of the ex's news cycle. The livestream roast is happening earlier in the relationship than it did with previous partners, which either means the format has accelerated or Nevaeh is more willing to skip the honeymoon phase and get straight to the co-hosting. 3 iterations of the same script means it's not a fluke. It's a franchise. And franchises don't end. They recast. Somewhere out there right now is the woman who's going to be introduced in 2027 when Nevaeh's arc hits its third act crisis. She's already scrolling his stream. She just doesn't know she's next. Let's talk about us for a minute, because we're in this too. Scroll the comment sections, and you'll see the audience has split into 4 factions, and each one is holding a mirror up to a different insecurity. The Jaidyn defenders are usually women who've been left. They're not defending Jaidyn. They're defending the version of themselves that got discarded. Every "he did her wrong" comment is a memory. The Nevaeh defenders are usually younger women who see her as aspirational, the new one, the chosen one, the one who won. They're not defending Nevaeh either. They're defending the fantasy that they could be the exception. The Blueface defenders are largely men who admire what they read as game, even though what they're really admiring is a business model that requires human beings as collateral. That's a diagnosis, not a compliment. And then there's the fourth group, the ones who show up for the mess and pretend they don't. The "I don't even follow these people, but" crowd. That's most of the internet. That's probably most of you. That's definitely partly me. And we're the ones who keep this thing alive. If we stopped watching, the entire ecosystem would need to find real jobs by Friday. Here's where I think this actually goes. Watch how the next 60 days play out. Blueface is about to lean harder into the Nevaeh content. Expect a joint podcast tease. Expect a pregnancy vlog series. Expect the 4th kid to have a name reveal that trends for 48 hours minimum. He knows the algorithm rewards escalation, and pregnancy content is a cheat code. The Jaidyn Deeses will taper off not because he made peace, but because Nevaeh becomes the more profitable storyline. Jaidyn stops being useful the second the new baby has a face for the timeline. Now the table flips scenario. Don't be shocked when Jaidyn goes fully silent. Not petty silent, strategically silent. She's already been photographed out with Kai bans, per reporting from All About the Tea, and the smartest move she can make is to stop responding on stream entirely. If she disappears from the discourse for even 3 weeks, Blueface loses his most reliable content generator, and the whole ecosystem starts feeding on itself. That's the flip. Silence as sabotage. The 5-year residue is where it gets ugly, though, because this generation of hip-hop adjacent reality streaming is teaching an entire viewership that public humiliation is the relationship, that the arguments are the intimacy. Kids growing up watching Journey and Javon's parents fight for content are learning that love is a broadcast. Blueface's real legacy won't be Thoshiana. It'll be that he helped normalize the stream breakup as a content genre, and every couple who copies the format in 2028, 2029, 2030 is quoting him whether they know it or not. The opposition, meaning the Team Blueface knows what he's doing, he's a genius crowd, is going to age badly on this one. Because being good at attention isn't the same as being good at life, and the receipts on how these kids grow up haven't come in yet. Ask again in a decade. The favored side wins because the favored side is whoever logs off first. That's it. That's the whole game. Somebody in this triangle is going to figure it out. I don't know who, but when they do, the whole thing collapses in a week. Let me sketch 3 scenarios so you're not just taking my word for it. Scenario 1, the Nevaeh pivot. Best case for her, worst case for Blueface. Nevaeh has that baby, spends 6 months in the joint content grind, builds her own platform on the back of his audience, and then, quietly on a Tuesday, announces her own podcast, her own brand deal, her own tour. She uses the co-host status to graduate into a solo act. If she plays that right, she leaves with the audience and the tattoo covered up in a follow-up documentary. That's the smart exit. That's the exit Krazian fumbled and Jaidyn never had access to. Nevaeh is closest to pulling it off because she started as a brand collaborator, not as a girlfriend. The order of operations matters. Scenario 2, the reset. Blueface and Jaidyn quietly rekindle for the kids' sake within 12 months. Not romantically, logistically. Enough joint appearances at birthdays and school events that the internet starts speculating. He never confirms. She never denies. Nevaeh becomes the third act she was scared of being. This is the scenario Blueface history most supports, because his pattern is cyclical. not linear. He returns to previous partners the way people return to old neighborhoods. Not to live, just to visit. But visiting is enough to torpedo whoever's currently there. Scenario 3, the collapse. The tape drama escalates legally. Somebody catches a real charge, not a Twitter charge, an indictment charge, and the whole stream economy around this family goes dark for a stretch. Custody gets renegotiated in court instead of comment sections. The kids get pulled off camera. Some sanity re-enters the picture involuntarily. This is the scenario nobody wants to name because it's the one that would actually help the children involved. It requires a bad day for the adults to become a good decade for the kids. Trade-off Hollywood is not going to volunteer for. Whichever scenario runs, the constant is this: the format wins. The individuals in it are interchangeable. Blueface is not special. He's just the current tenant of a role the internet had already invented and was waiting to cast. When he ages out, another one steps up. The stream doesn't care whose face is in the thumbnail. Let me close with the receipt. Every media outlet is too polite to write. Blueface cultural stock right now. High volume, low prestige. He's talked about constantly and respected almost never. That's a very specific place to be. It's the place where you can pull big numbers for another 2-3 years and then vanish so completely people will genuinely ask whatever happened to that guy by 2030. Jaidyn stock, rising quietly. Every time she doesn't respond, she gains a point. Every time she does, she loses 2. If she figures out silence, she has a real second-act career. Reality TV, brand deals, maybe a memoir. She has the sympathetic mother lane wide open. Krazian can't have it. Nevaeh can't have it. It's Jaidyn's if she wants it. Nevaeh's stock, volatile. The upside is Kardashian adjacent. She could turn co-hosting into a full brand. The downside is Krazian adjacent. She could burn out publicly in 18 months and spend the next decade doing damage control. There's very little middle ground for her, which is what makes her arc the most interesting one to watch. And the kid stock, Javon, Journey, and now a fourth on the way, is the one none of us should be treating like sport. Whatever happens to the parents, those kids inherit the archive. Every clip we're quoting today will be searchable by them at age 13. Think about what version of their parents you'd want them to find. That's the only ethical filter that actually matters in coverage like this, and I'ma try to hold myself to it too. Y'all saw what I saw. You know what to do. Like, subscribe, ring the bell. Drop your read in the comments, especially if you think I got Nevaeh wrong, because I might have. Next one's already loading, and it's messier than this one. That's a promise. Celeb Virex out.